So, we are looking at one of the challenge problems, and this is challenge problem number 1. It says a baker needs 5 pounds of butter for a recipe. She found 2 portions that each weigh 1 1/6 pound and a portion that weighs 2 2/7 pound. Does she have enough butter for her recipe? So this is a tricky one. Notice that we need to find out if she has enough butter for her recipe. So this is going to be a yes or no sentence. We either need to know that she does or she doesn't have enough butter. It's not as important to know how much butter she has, but in order to get credit, a teacher will look at your work and you do need to have accurate work there. You can't just make a guess. If you make a guess, you get 0 points, nothing. You need to show your thinking. So, if we take a look at this problem, we know that the baker needs a total of 5 pounds of butter. So we need to close read, and when I close read this problem, I see that it says that she found 2 portions that each weighed 1 1/6 pound. So that word each is something that's really, really important because that's telling us that there are 2 that weigh 1 1/6 pound. There's one portion and then there's another portion. Notice that I'm drawing my tape diagram, I'm starting to set it up, and I can see that I made these about the same size because they're equal. And then she also found a portion that weighed 2 2/7 pounds. So I do have a part whole model here because I need to take all of those parts, all of those portions that she found, and add them together and find out if it's enough for her to make that recipe. So I need to know this total and what this total is. So I need to go ahead and I need to set up my addition because I need to add those 3 parts together to find out what the whole is. So I'm going to add 1 1/6 plus 1 1/6 plus 2 2/7. Now remember, there's another way to write this. We could write 2 times 1 1/6 because of that repeated addition. We could write it either way. I am going to look at it as 1 1/6 plus 1 1/6 because they do have a common denominator and there's only 2 of them. It's pretty easy for me to add those 2 whole numbers, 1 plus 1, and get 2. And then add my 2 fractions, 1/6 plus 1/6, and get 2 and 2/6. So when I add 1 1/6 plus 1 1/6, my answer is 2 and 2/6. Notice that I use that underlining strategy that we used from PEMDAS. So now I still need to add that 2 and 2/7. So here, not so easy. I do not have a common denominator. So I need to find that least common multiple of the bigger number, and in this problem it's 7. So I need to find the least common multiple of 7 and 6. I'm going to start with a 7 and ask myself, 7, does 7 divide evenly by 6 to get a whole number? No. 14 divided by 6 does not give me a whole number. 21 divided by 6 does not give me a whole number. 28, 35, still no whole number. I get to 42. And I know that my least common multiple, my least common denominator, would be 42 because 42 divided by 6 gives me 7. So this one worked out where I could have multiplied those denominators, but remember, we want to stay away from that strategy because we want to always be thinking about the smaller number. Only use the multiplying the denominators by a strategy if you're really having a hard time with your multiples. So we know that 42 divided by 6 is 7. We know that 42 is also my least common denominator. And now I just need to convert those fractions to equivalent fractions with 42 as a denominator. So I'm running out of room down here. I'm going to move over here so that I have a little bit more room. I'm going to look at 2 6. And I'm going to think to myself that 2 6 equals something as 42 with my denominator. I need to know what version of 1 I'm multiplying that 6 by, that 2 6 by. And I know that 6 times 7 gives me 42, so I know that I need to multiply 2 times 7. When I multiply 2 times 7, I get 14. So I know that 2 and 2 6 can become 2 and 14 40-seconds. So now I'm going to do my 2 7ths. And I need to do the same thing. I need to find out what version of 1 I'd multiply by to turn 7ths into 40 seconds. So I know that 6 times 7 gives me 42. So I also need to multiply my numerator by 6. And then I find out that 2 7ths equals 12 40-seconds. So I know that I now need to add 2 and 12 40-seconds. Because 2 7ths is equivalent to 2 and 12 40-seconds. I'm going to draw just a little arrow to make it so that you can tell that we're replacing 2 6 with its equivalent fractions and 2 and 2 7ths with its equivalent fraction. So now we're going to go ahead and add. I can add my whole numbers. Because I have a common denominator, it's easy peasy now. Add my whole numbers. 2 plus 2 is 4. 14 40-seconds plus 12 40-seconds. This is also something that if you want to add on the side, please add on the side. I get 26 40-seconds, which is great. That is a correct answer. However, I do want to simplify as much as I can. So I look at 26 40-seconds, and I know that I can divide both of those by 2. They're both even numbers. So I would get 13 21sts. So I know that my total and final answer is 14 and 13 21sts. Please remember to not forget that whole number. So I know that she has 4 and 13 21sts. Does she have enough butter to answer to make that recipe? And 4 and 13 21sts is less than 5. So she does not have enough butter. So notice all of this work supports my answer if she does not have enough butter. If I didn't have all of this work, I would not get full credit, even if I wrote that on as a sentence. You need to show your work, you need to show your thinking.